Hey guys, we're back. We're going to try it again. Apparently, where Blue is at, they are having Spectrum outages, so his internet is chalked. And we thought it was on our end because it usually is, because our production team is actually garbage. So it very well could have been us. It might still be us. Maybe we killed Spectrum from here. I don't freaking know. So anyway, we'll have to try to get Blue in next week because he was just going to come hang out with us. We got a pretty chill episode going on right now. Lots of stuff going on. We had some breaking news before we went live just a little bit ago. Some other stuff. Not a ton of crazy stuff happening, but there's enough stuff going on that I think it'll be fun to hang out with you guys and talk about. Buff, how are you, man? What's going on?
I am really good, man. I'm kind of just like a DMZ crackhead lately. Not to brag, but I think I'm maybe one of the greatest DMZ players on the planet with the squad that I run with. Just saying.
Yeah, that wasn't a brag or anything.
Not to sound too full of myself, but it might be true. I don't know. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm not very good at any video games apparently. I had some family time this weekend. The in-laws came and visited and everything. And dude, I am like having a hard time focusing on anything because I am like literally anytime now I'm going to have a child. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm in that mode. So it's really scary.
What's the due date again?
The due date's February 14th. So
okay, so like now.
Yeah, the due date is anytime. It's now. Yeah. So
awesome.
Yeah. So if I just abruptly leave this chair and I'm gone and Buff's sitting here wondering what's going on, that's probably what happened. So just so you know.
Awesome.
You know. But yeah, man. I was away from video games for a while, and then last night I streamed S&D, Search and Destroy on Twitch. It got absolutely destroyed, man. It felt like I hadn't ever played before. The skill-based matchmaking was like I'd never left. Like I had never left. And it's frustrating, and we're gonna talk a little bit about skill-based matchmaking is gonna come up later in the show, but man, it is so frustrating, and I can 100% prove that it is really active in this game because with my NetDuma router, I can see where the servers are and I can see where I can connect. So the idea behind it is I can draw a geo filter around the closest server, so I always get really good ping. But it takes forever to get a match there, and if I just let it run, it puts us in really far away servers, and there's like no reason for it other than skill-based matchmaking.
That's really weird. I'm curious. I know we'll get into it, so I won't. I just want to say I'm curious what that looks like for you with DMZ, because I'm pretty positive there's zero SBMM in DMZ because it's just such a different style of gameplay. So yeah. I'm curious when next time you play, check that out and see. I'm curious how that works.
Might have to check it out. That would be an interesting test to do. But yeah, guys, thank you all so much for being here. Really, really, really appreciate it. Drop a like on the stream if you like it. Thumbs down it if you hate the production team. I would thumbs down it. It's just terrible. But yeah, like it if you guys want to. Thank you so much. The chat is on screen as always, so you guys are part of the show. It's really good to see everybody. Again, like I had a terrible Monday, but knowing that we were going to go live and you guys were going to show up and hang out with us, it made the day go a lot easier. We got some pretty fun stuff to talk about, I think.
I'm pumped. We got a good topic list here for sure.
We do. And I'm always worried every week, and then something happens and stuff happens, and eventually there's stuff to talk about. So yeah, here we are. The first thing, let's just get right into it. Stuff will come up as we go along. You tagged me in this before we went live. The Activision had their earnings call, and it appears that COD 2023, I'm confused. So I guess we can just look at it really quick. If the production team could figure it out, would be wow. It would be so cool. Here's the one tweet. Across the Call of Duty franchise, we'll read this for the podcast listener. Across the Call of Duty franchise, our teams are working to amplify the success of the fourth quarter with 2023 plans, including even more engaging live services across platforms and the next full annual premium release in the Blockbuster series. So the thing that sticks out to everybody there in the know is the next full annual premium release. What do you think of that?
I'm curious because I was looking at some of the tweets with Charlie Intel and Tom Henderson, and they're saying it's from what I'm hearing here, it's being developed by Sledgehammer.
Allegedly.
Well, allegedly, but we've heard everything saying that it's going to be almost like an expansion of Modern Warfare 2 prior to this. This doesn't specify. So what is it? I'm curious if this is actually like it sounds like with what I'm seeing with some of the tweets. I don't know if Tom Henderson and Charlie Intel are like joking back and forth, but what we originally heard was it was going to be an expansion of sorts to Modern Warfare Roman numeral 2. So I'm thinking this is going to be almost like a Modern Warfare 3 or a Modern Warfare 2 Part 2 is what I'm seeing with some of the Tom Henderson tweets. So I think that's what this is going to be, but it's going to be more fleshed out. Maybe they're going to be adding more stuff to it. I don't know, but I don't think it's going to be a full scale Call of Duty title like we've seen annually, unless Sledgehammer's had something in the works or they pulled out an old project that was closer to done and are working on refining it. I don't know. So I'm eager to hear more about it, but I'm still on the side of it's Modern Warfare 2 Part 2.
And this tweet from Charlie Intel kind of summarizes why everyone's a little bit confused, and myself included. I think it makes it like really vague.
Yeah,
they're talking about last year when Jason Schreier of Bloomberg reported that this false title would be an expansion to Modern Warfare Roman numeral 2. And we've heard that from quite a few different sources. We've also heard that they're going to bring back all the remastered maps from the original Modern Warfare 2, but this one's going to be from Sledgehammer. But what's weird is Activision keeps calling this fall's release a full annual premium release, so that makes you think like a new game. Right. But all the inside sources are quite the opposite. And then they did another article on Insider Gaming and basically just kind of reiterating what we're talking about. I get an ad for diapers. That's going to be me soon. Woohoo!
That is they're monitoring you very closely.
Yeah, they're all about it. But yeah, the confusion as to what exactly a premium title entails has arisen because of past Activision earnings calls have named premium titles as the $70 games, where year 2 DLC. I feel like they would call it something different. That's what I think too, because it's like a premium title means it'll have a different title. When you think title, you think a game, like a new game is the new title. It's kind of an interchangeable word. That's why I'm so confused. As to what's going on here.
And I also am curious. It sounds to me like it's Modern Warfare 2 Part 2. But it does sound like it's going to be, and we've heard this before, it sounds like it's going to be a paid expansion or a paid Part 2 of the game. So whether that's full price or not, but so this is going to be interesting. If that is the case, it's almost like, hey, we get a year of live service, and then you get almost like the paid DLC expansion, the old model, if that's kind of what this ends up being. So regardless, I'm going to pay for it. I'm curious if it is Modern Warfare 2 expansion or something else. Since we haven't heard anything about a full premium different title outside of the Treyarch's 2024 game, it sounds to me like it is going to be that Part 2 of Modern Warfare 2 for a price.
Yeah. I kind of want to just be like devil's advocate and go completely against you and start some controversy on the program and say that it's going to be Advanced Warfare 2. I look forward to your comments.
I actually loved it. The single player for Advanced Warfighter was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed the multiplayer. That was when like I was in between stages of like, and I think that was like your first one too, wasn't it?
The first one I got into, I played a lot.
That was almost my in between stage of like hardcore gaming, and then I was barely gaming / casual. So that was like my roommate and I would like pass the controller back and forth to each other just for like shits a couple hours every few days maybe. And I had a lot of fun with that game. So I wouldn't be opposed to an Advanced Warfare Part 2. The campaign was a blast.
Yeah. I get that a lot. I don't know if it's like nostalgia. I feel like when it was out, people absolutely despised it, but that could just be the COD cycle. Like that always happens.
I think it is.
I love this. I love the setting. I loved the gun variants, even though I did not realize how bad the loot boxes were like, I don't put that on me. Like when you're crafting your comment to write Crash is an AW fanboy. That's how you guys sound when you type like that, just so you know.
Yeah.
Whenever you're doing that, I didn't know loot boxes were going to be so trash at the time. So take that out of the game. I thought the setting was really cool. If you guys will follow along with me, if you're playing at home, they had DLCs with 4 effing maps every season for multiplayer. So that was cool. And I just really liked the grounded exactly Optimum when you'd open one and that guy would yell elite, like you'd get all amped up. Surprise mechanics. Everyone loves them. Yeah, I'm getting canceled. But anyway, I thought the setting was really cool. I thought it was one of the most tastefully done futuristic games ever because it was futuristic, but it was like really believable and really dark and gritty. And I just love the vibe. I love the music. I love the variety of maps. Shout out Dr. Disrespect. Like some of those map designs are really cool. And then when the DLCs came out, it wasn't like we've been getting since they've had these battle royale maps where they just section off areas and that's your multiplayer map. These actually have different places. They're unique. They're completely new worlds. They're completely like they had like the theme park ones and like the different hotels and like all kinds of like crazy maps. They had the one maps that I remember, like, I can't remember, it was like called Recovery or something, where you start on one side and then the volcano erupted and it moved you to the other side of the map and locked off the back side. Like those dynamic maps and stuff. I just thought it had a lot of cool stuff to it. It had some trash stuff, but it had some really cool stuff too.
I also really, I see some comments in the chat about like that advanced movement mechanics from those future CODs, like Infinite Warfare and Black Ops 3 and stuff. I actually thought Advanced Warfighter or Warfare, whatever it was actually called, I can't remember, but I actually thought it was like a good, realistic, close future movement system. I didn't think it was over the top at all compared to like, I remember I bought Black Ops 3 once and I played multiplayer and returned it 2 hours later. So,
and that's the problem for me, like where everybody hates me, and that's okay. It's okay. Because I started with like playing COD with advanced movement. So I started with that and then went to Black Ops 3 and I was pretty good on it. Infinite Warfare, I didn't like it for some reason. The campaign was lit in Infinite Warfare. But the I don't know why I didn't like the multiplayer. I didn't really like it. I didn't like how they did the variants and it didn't have near as many maps. I might be a frame slut, but I think I'm also kind of a map slut. Like it turns out, like, yeah, I just need more maps. Like always want more maps. I never have enough maps. Come on.
And to be honest, I never even noticed the surprise mechanic system in that game because I was just so casually playing, so I wasn't even like paying attention to any of that. So couldn't even comment on that aspect of it.
I didn't realize it was so bad until like later on. But yeah, it was. And then, well, the reason I didn't do Infinite Warfare is because I went completely Battlefield 1. So like that was when I went to the Battlefield path, Battlefield 1. So yeah, that's why that happened. You want to see an Advanced Warfare 2 because you want to see Kevin Spacey come back. You can't say that. He's a bad guy. He's a bad guy. We're gonna get canceled.
His character was pretty sick. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but he's a bad guy, so we can't even talk about it. We're gonna get banned eventually. It's gonna happen. I just hope we have fun until then. Thanks everyone for being here. Appreciate you. All right. So yeah, that's what's going on. I guess we could look at another couple of things we could look at. I wasn't Charlie Intel tweeting about the kind of their numbers and stuff, because some of their numbers were like earnings wise were pretty wild.
Were they? I didn't see that part.
Let me look really quick. Production team is scrambling right now.
I mean, that makes sense because that's what we've heard about. Everyone's been saying the numbers and sales were so down. And I'm curious, like when you put these up and we see what they actually are, I mean, it makes sense because Warzone 2 seems to, for whatever reason, be negatively received. I don't think you were ever going to replicate original Warzone numbers ever, obviously. I think that was a given. But I'll be honest, the store bundles have been extremely lackluster. So as far as sales goes, those types of microtransactions, that seems to be, I'm sure, where they're hurting the most. And I think that maybe hopefully I guess we'll find out next week, but it seems like the season one store bundles, and even some of this, most of this, I would say most of the stuff in the battle pass was kind of like get stuff out there quick and easy. Maybe we'll see more thoughtful things coming up in season two.
Can I tell you what I think's going on with that?
Please do.
Okay. I think that they're saving a lot of the store bundles and stuff for when they get Resurgence back in. I think Resurgence is going to bring so many players back to the game, and
I think so too.
I think they're saving a lot of their really good store bundles until they have more concurrent players. I
But
wouldn't surprise
what
me.
is really good? I mean, I completely agree with you actually, because why would you want to release, good store bundles when you don't have the player numbers that you want to see the store bundles? But what do you classify as good store bundles? Because they've already come out with a lot of these anime in weird store bundles, and not a lot of like more grounded store bundles. I'm not looking for like hardcore Milsim Navy SEAL like Unit Team 6 stuff. But historically, they did have the Milsim. They did have more realistic builds. I've seen some images of weapons that they haven't released yet through store items that I really want. But it seems like, I mean, I guess it depends on, it's subjective, but what is Infinity Ward's idea of good store bundles? Is it the more
Well,
grounded stuff? Because it
I
seems
just
that they've
think
already released the other weird stuff.
I think you're just going to see more sort, like you're saying it's lackluster. I think you're going to see just see cover the gamut.
Daily,
I think
daily
there's
updates, right?
Yeah, I think you're gonna have
Yeah.
I think you're gonna have Milsim. I think you're gonna go
Mhm.
all the way to anime. I think you're gonna have another cowboy hat Joe Exotic skin. Like, I think they're just gonna. I think they're waiting to put out the meat of their store until they have the resurgence people playing. Is what I'm guessing.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we're going to see a big uptick, and I mean that's a good point, because I remember Modern Warfare 2019 days, like every day 1 o'clock, you know, I right after lunch or whatever during the pandemic there, I'd log on and check the store, and there'd be multiple new items. And so far for season one, specifically the past couple of months, it's like maybe you get one new item a week if you're lucky. So I think you're right. The cadence of releasing things is definitely slowed down heavily.
Yep. And then they said here that Activision also says MW2 had the best selling quarter four and launch quarter in the franchise's history. So that's pretty good, launch
Okay.
wise. And then I thought they said something about Activision Publishing made 1.85 billion in net revenue in Q4 thanks to Modern Warfare and Warzone 2. That's 694 million more than the previous year in Q4 2021.
Sounds like they're
Um,
struggling pretty hard then, huh?
yeah, they're probably going to cancel it pretty soon.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted to see. Activision Blizzard generated 1.82 billion in revenue from microtransactions in Q4 2022 to total 5.38 billion dollars of microtransaction revenue in 2022.
So they're doing fine. They're doing
Yeah.
good. Yeah, dead game. Get it out
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, so if they report that, then they're doing fine. Again,
Yeah.
I think their concurrent player numbers are likely fairly low for what they're used to and what they expect. But I mean, I really think they know what they're doing, and you're going to see season 2 and the resurgence, and you're going to have DMZ on the new map. I think it's gonna be up from here. I think, but I'm just gonna be over here being like one of the only people bitching about no multiplayer maps.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right though. So that season launches, what is it? Next season 2 is next Wednesday. God, it can't be here soon enough. Yeah, I'm curious. I can't wait to see what they're. I need some stuff. I'm telling you, I am chomping at the bit for some tactical stuff to roll in DMZ with like an Alpha Sigma Giga Chad. Just saying.
I think I don't know. It would just be smart of them to add everything for the crowd that likes
Wide
that stuff to
variety.
kind of role
Wide
play, and
variety.
I'm sure
Yeah.
they will. I would sure
And
think they would.
and I think that's when they do the best, right? You release, and that's what they were doing. They were releasing things pretty much every day or every other day. You were getting some stuff in the battle pass. You were getting, your anime, your meta growl bundles. You had it all. So I think that'll be good. Hopefully that's the plan they're running with here. I think you're right though. I think you're going to see a lot of players come back with Resurgence and a new map, which is going to be awesome.
Yep. I do agree. So yeah, at the end of the day, I guess to put a bow on this story, I think we're up in the air on what they're going to do in 2023. Either way, it's going to be different than what we're used to. But
Yeah.
I just kind of feel like maybe it'll be a different title. Um, the way they did it, it leaves flexibility.
So you don't think so you're saying you don't think it'll be part two of Modern Warfare 2? You think it'll be something completely separate?
It just seems it seems like they'd make more money with a new title.
I just don't
But
know.
they
I
said
just
this
don't
was
know what it would be because didn't Sledgehammer just did Vanguard, didn't they? So what the heck are they turning around in 2 years? And I guess they could. I mean, they could. Let's not. It's not like some of these studios aren't used to the quick turnarounds.
yeah.
But I'm just. I can't even think what it would be, right? Because I don't
Man,
know.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
like
Yeah,
no
the more
idea. I have no idea.
yeah, it it may it makes more sense from the game perspective to have a new premium DLC with a lot of maps and stuff for multiplayer. And they started with DMZ like getting perks for paid members
Hmm.
now in the new season where
Hmm.
you get that paid faction if you own the multiplayer game, so they could do more stuff
Right.
like that. But with DMZ just in beta, as popular as it is in Warzone 2, where they didn't want to mix in and add other games, I
Hmm.
guess with all that, if you look at all that, yeah, I just changed my mind. I'm a flip flopper. I'm a big fat phony flip flopper. I kind of
I
think,
convinced you. I convinced
yeah,
you.
yeah, you did. You turned me. I think it makes this is so bad. If we were like a large show with a whole bunch of fans, like somebody somewhere would take the time. Like you guys don't need to take the time to do this. Show stinks, but somebody would take the time and then edit like a super cut of me arguing with myself, like they do with Joe Rogan sometimes. That would be me. I'd just be arguing with myself. No, I think yeah, you heard it here first. I've said this the whole time. I think it's going to be a premium Modern Warfare 2 DLC. That's what I've been saying. I'm just trying to
Mhm.
convince Buff of that. Um, it's my idea. I thought of it. And
Yeah, dude, I gotta start thinking more logically here.
yeah, get with it, dude. Get on my level.
Oh my
But no,
god.
I think it does make more sense actually if you put all that together to keep DMZ going, to get it out of beta, to keep Warzone 2 going without them having to mix in other games like they did last time. They said that was such a big detriment to the game and its performance and its balance and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
think so. I would love to see a lot more Modern Warfare 2 maps come in remastered. Some new ones, please, for the love of shit. Give us some new maps. And then yeah, we'll have to see what they come up with. But I think it's gonna be new. It's gonna be new.
It is indeed going to be. I won't be old, that's for sure. I'm curious. Well, I feel like I'm saying I'm curious a lot, but I am indeed curious. If I see comments in chat saying maybe Modern Warfare 3 campaign remastered, that's something that supposedly Sony had that deal for the original trilogy. That's supposed to be done and ready to go. Maybe whatever this premium title is or the expansion, that campaign remaster will be part of it. I think would probably be a safe bet too. And you'll probably see if it is, in fact, what we're talking about here, which you thankfully convinced me it was Modern Warfare 2 expansion.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I think we'll see addition, you talked about already, a whole addition to the multiplayer aspect and also continuation of the campaign. So it'll almost be like a Modern Warfare 3 campaign. We're going to get that probably that Makarov portion of the campaign. And then you might even see their Modern Warfare 3 campaign remastered. And if they're smart, they'll start bringing in all of those maps from Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, operators, weapons, blueprints. That was when they discussed back in Modern Warfare 2019 is the Modern Warfare 2 campaign remastered came out, and they were saying that they were going to release those maps into Modern Warfare 2019, and they were going to release the weapons as blueprints, which none of that ever happened, minus the one M4 blueprint you got for for buying the campaign remastered. So that was it. So I don't know what stopped them from doing it then. Maybe this is what we're going to see here, or we could just both be completely wrong, and this could be a title that was shelved or something couple of years back and reworked. Who knows? But I think you're closer with your prediction of a part 2 of Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, with my idea that I thought of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys,
It's
we're
good,
kidding. I didn't think of it. Okay.
good thinking, Crash.
Yeah. It's not bad journalism. It's sarcasm. We're joking. I didn't think of it, but I'm on board with it now. All things considered, Boom. That's how you keep an open mind when you're having a discussion, just so you know.
I love it.
Yeah. So the next thing I wanted to talk about, this kind of segues into it with live service and stuff. I don't think what we just talked about is a good example of this, given the amount of money that they made. But I wanted to talk just a little bit about some industry changes. And this kind of came to my mind this morning. I was listening to Jeff Grubb on the morning. What's it? Game Mess Mornings is what he calls it. His podcast he does where he talks about stuff in the mornings. I just leave it on, listen to him while I'm working. And just talking about all the games, like the dead games in the recent weeks and things that have been canceled. It's been quite astonishing, really. I just want to go over a quick list of these, and a few of them are shooters, and then there's some more on here that I think we should definitely talk about that aren't on this list. But dead games in the recent weeks, some of them completely shut down servers. You can't access them anymore. Talked about a little bit on how it really sucks that you have to play online for some of these to play single players. Like that definitely shouldn't be a thing. But Crossfire X was killed off. Back for Blood's not getting any more support. You can still play it. Marvel's Avengers, Rumbleverse, Apex Legends, and Battlefield Mobile got completely axed. And the studio shut down. Echo VR, Knockout City, Crime Site, and Dragon Quest. So I didn't know much of those games, but the reason I wanted to show this list, even though they're not all shooters, is I'm hoping and thinking that potentially a lot of companies that aren't in those Call of Duty, in those Fortnite, in those giant AAA, huge player base things are maybe starting to learn that live services might not be the way to support your game. And Jeff Grubb was talking about this. He went into a little bit in depth on how it kind of makes sense because you have to have so many players because not everyone's going to buy skins or buy, microtransactions if they don't have to. So you have to have so many players to keep that revenue up. And then that incurs more server costs. And it's just not sustainable for a large number of the games in that kind of size. What does Kitty think of all this?
He wants food. That's what he wants.
He doesn't care about video games, does he?
I don't know. He's grown up watching me, so he might. And
yeah, Chase is mentioning the Crossfire campaign. I'm pretty sure if I understand it correctly, you won't even be able to access the campaign anymore because you had to be online to play it. So it's like
that sucks.
It's like completely chalk. So that sucks. And then also another game that was canceled was Titanfall Legends or something. There was a single player Titanfall Apex Legends crossover that was supposed to be going on, and they completely axed that as well. So that game got canceled. So a lot of EA stuff really got canned over the last week.
Wow. I was honestly, I know you did a video about it for the Battlefield Mobile part of it, about why it was really canceled. So that I thought that was an interesting video, and like you said, a lot of EA stuff. So I'm curious where this is going to lead EA going forward, as far as what we're going to see with specifically Battlefield, right?
Yeah, so that's what it's a real bummer that we're not seeing a Titanfall, and it's kind of a bummer. It's kind of I don't want to say a double-edged sword because they're both not bad things, but it's kind of a catch-22 with Battlefield Mobile being canceled. It's a little disheartening that it was canceled because it had like a traditional Battlefield feel. It had classes, It had destruction. It looked like the Battlefield that we're used to, like many of us would wish for. So it's a little bit of a bummer that maybe they're going in a different direction. But I guess just to elaborate, if you didn't hear what was going on in that video, basically what they said in the earnings call is they've learned that their mobile games have to be directly integrated with cross progression with the main title to keep everybody together, to keep people playing it, to keep the player numbers up. So it would not surprise me if an Apex, because they canceled Apex Legends, they completely are taking it off. You can't access it, you can't do anything. It's going to be gone on March 18th, I think, or something around there. And that, if you guys, I don't follow along with this, but they asked it in the questions. I don't really follow along with mobile games all that much. It won Mobile Game of the Year on Apple and on the Google Play Store.
Wow.
So it was Game of the Year last year, and they're killing it. So what they said is they've learned that the game has to be like the same cross progression and potentially cross play with the main title, kind of like Fortnite does, and with Warzone Mobile is going to have cross progression. So they said when the Warzone Mobile comes out, you're going to be able to like progress on your battle pass and your XP level and everything from the mobile version, and that'll carry over to the main game. So EA is saying future mobile games, they want them to be able to do that. But they're not starting it right away because Industrial Toys, they completely disbanded that studio. So like they're gone. So that's I mean, it's not going to be anytime soon, but if they do future mobile games, they said that they're going to have to be like cross progression for sure.
Yeah, it's I don't know why it makes me think back to like Battlefield 4's not quite, it wasn't like quite cross progression or anything, but Battlefield 4 had the integrated web app for it. Someone in chat can say it. Battlelog, yeah, which I loved that. And what you could do is on your mobile devices log in as a commander, and you would get XP and stuff for that. Log in as a commander and do all that. So it was almost like the cross progression before cross progression in some ways, which was pretty cool. So it's almost like a lot of these things are maybe coming full circle.
They had a mobile app with Advanced Warfare also.
Did they really? Okay.
Yeah, you could mess with loadouts, and like when they had the clan wars going on, like you could on the weekends you could like mess around with that and like match your clan up for a clan war matches and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a great feature.
I
wish they still had that stuff.
I'll never forget outfitting my soldier while I'm sitting on the toilet. Good stuff. So I guess this kind of continues along. So what I'm hoping for, to put a nutshell on the live service thing, I hope that middle tier and smaller games are understanding that maybe free to play live service isn't the way to go. Maybe it's better to have, paid DLC, what you're going to get, what your budget is, and it doesn't take as many players potentially to keep that game going, and those server costs and all that stuff like that, because it seems like a lot of these live services aren't sustainable. And I don't want to see those smaller games end up dying because they're trying to do a live service, Right. Even if there's not as much content, I would love them to, not lose their ass on a game and have to completely shut it down, maybe in support, but leave it going. So, I'm hoping live services are starting to get phased out, but I don't know. Then the big titles are still doing great. The other thing that I thought was interesting, I mean, there's just, I think it's also an economy thing. There's just a lot of cutbacks across the board. I saw an article that Take-Two Interactive during their call said they had to cut back several $1 million in their budgets for everything, and are cutting back a lot of costs in different places. So I think it's also just kind of a climate of our economy right now too. People aren't able to spend as much on video games because we're just trying to buy freaking food, as much as that stuff costs. The other thing that I wanted to talk about along these lines is Jeff Grubb did a tweet that was really interesting. I kind of like these overall industry thoughts. Sometimes I like talking about like super big picture stuff. He tweeted that, let me get it on the screen. Production team is so bad, dude. He says, I feel like I woke up in a bizarro video game world where suddenly licensed games are the biggest thing and all we're going to get for the next 5 years from big publishers. I mean, I know it's happening. I've been flat out told big games need to get close to 10 million units sold as soon as possible, and that is easier to do with a license. I don't know, to me, that's another check mark in that this is all unsustainable column. So he's talking about licensed games like Hogwarts Legacy is probably going to hit that 10 million mark pretty fast. Like the Star Wars games are probably going to do pretty well. The FIFA games games with a license, game with like a real world IP connection, like another multimedia connection or license, are kind of becoming the future, and they're like starting to be the big games and how it's going to end up going forward. So it's going to be what's going to tell us with that. So to tie that all back in to first person shooters, I'm going to be really keeping my eye on that alleged Star Wars first-person shooter that's coming out. I think that's going to be a really big tell on if that we're going to see more like branded shooters like that.
Yeah, especially with the new Jedi Survivor, I think it is, coming out. That'll be a good, that thing's going to sell extremely well too. So the Star Wars games usually sell very, very well. And like you said, Hogwarts Legacy, those are going to be, all those will do really, really well. So yeah, first person Star Wars, like just thinking back to a modern variation of like first person Clone Wars. They had some of those games back in the past where you were like the clone troopers and things like that was pretty sick. So to see that like brought to a modern engine with modern gameplay mechanics would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'm very interested in that title and just to see how it performs and see how it plays.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Yeah, so I guess that's probably it for the big time industry talk. What do you think of all that and the kind of the way things are changing overall?
Yeah, it's weird. We're in a weird spot in gaming like the past 4-5 years or so, maybe even more. So definitely I think it's kind of an evolutionary stage where the whole industry is shifting and we're going to see something new going forward. I think probably approaching potentially the end of live service models for some games. I think other live service models like Fortnite, Apex Legends do very, very well, but we're going to see some shifts here in the next couple of years for sure. As far as that pertain to quality of how a game is post launch as well.
And then you have the game Operation Harsh Doorstop, which is trying to completely change the meta. So that's another one like industry wise to keep an eye out on.
Yeah, I've been following that for a while. I love that.
That one there, he's pretty much banking on the community caring with community driven content. It's going to be free to play, but if you want to set up a multiplayer server, you have to pay for the server yourself. No microtransaction or anything like that, but like all the source code, Steam Workshop, all that stuff is going to be set up for you to make whatever kind of experience you want to within. It's just going to be like a big platform. So and to tie this up, Dinosaurus Rex with the absolute cherry on top for this conversation. I hope the next big thing is releasing finished games. Dude, that's it. 100%, man.
Yeah,
100%.
That says it right there. That's all there is.
Yep.
End of story.
I think that's the period on the sentence of that conversation. So yeah, 100%, man. That's awesome. That's perfect. So yeah, dude, this is going to be pretty crazy. I'm really interested to see where you're at on all this day before stuff, dude.
Yeah, I was excited to talk about this today. When you messaged me earlier about, good for this time, etc. I was just thinking like, man, day before, we've been talking about this on and off the past like month or so each week, and with that gameplay that dropped, I may or may not have a different perspective on it than I did last week. So I want to know what you think about that as well.
I think I'm still leaning to where I don't think it's a real game. I don't think it'll ever release in a state where everyone will like it.
Yeah.
When I first saw the gameplay, I was like, "Oh, that's okay." But then like people started like really trying to put stuff together after the fact, and the stuff that they did, dude, it makes no sense. I wouldn't say I understand like how to say this. I couldn't tell you 100%. I'm not as sure on if it's a game or not. Maybe it's a game, maybe it isn't. I'm leaning towards not, but I can 100% tell you it is fucking weird. It's so weird. Like how they market this, because they came out with the 10 minutes of gameplay and then they put a short out after this, and it's like the guy was playing the game because people didn't believe that they were playing, like that it was a real game, and I didn't feel like the mouse movement even matched what was going on the screen.
Really,
then,
I missed this completely.
Oh, really? I'll have to try to find it in a minute. Remind me. I'll get the production team on it. They'll have to start now if they want any hope and prayer of pulling it up. But yeah, they did like a minute or so of gameplay where he's playing it on the computer and his mouse movement, like it's so weird. But the thing that is so weird is the trailer side by side shows similarities to a lot of other games, and I found a really cool article that shows this. So I don't know. Sorry, podcast listeners, you just have to take our word for it. Like, it's so weird. So this is an overlay with a frame from the trailer and a frame from Black Ops Cold War Zombies reveal, and it's like you can do a before and after. So this is day before. This is a zombies trailer. It's like It's like the same exact thing. So this is Zombies trailer. This is Day Before.
I'm really curious, like who remembers, like, oh, I remember this exact shot.
That's
from
what
this.
I'm saying. Because
Like, holy crap.
when I first saw it, I was like, okay, like they still didn't show like unscripted gameplay. It's already kind of what we've seen. Like no HUD walking around shooting a couple zombies. We'd already kind of seen that. I wanted to hear, like a lot of people, I wanted to hear like how the game was going to work, how many people would be on a server, what's the point of it, what the crafting's like, do you have a base, how is it going to be an MMO, you know, like how is it going to work? And it was still kind of the same. It looked pretty scripted from what we've seen. It's just, this is all just so bizarre. Like if you think the game's real or not, everyone has to agree that this is just so weird. So then this is another shot with the zombie reveal trailer. This is a zombie trailer. And then this is the Day Before trailer. So just really similar lighting, really similar shot.
So that one, zombies, Day Before. Zombies, Day Before. Okay.
Yeah, the right side is Day Before, the left side is zombies. So this is Day Before. Yeah. This is zombies. So it's another shot through like the floor grate or whatever. The other one that I thought was so funny was the snow runner. So the top is the Day Before, and the bottom is Snow Runner key art, the driving video game.
It's that's a little weird for sure.
It's weird. Crazy. Why would they recreate this? Like what?
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah.
And then this is a Day Before and COD Zombies comparison again. And then this is a comparison with a shot in the Division. So, and I noticed that with the stuff in the Division, like they had some of the same lights and stuff, like the string lights in the New York streets and stuff like that. And then here's another one. Then they copied, or I don't know, man. And then it's like, this is from Day Before. This is Last of Us Part 1 launch trailer. So it's got the pipes on the side, holding the handgun on the left side. It's just so similar. Two zombies.
Yeah, that is weird. It's almost, they're definitely like looking at references for sure to build different things off of.
So yeah, I don't get it, man. I don't understand why they would do it, or what. The only way in my head I can imagine that they got there was that someone took some shots from trailers from different things as a concept and then said, here, this is the concept, make it with our game engine. And they just completely the intern took it and just completely copied it. And they're like, and so that's what they were showing. So like,
especially like what we're hearing with the developers, like kind of like not really being paid. It's like, here's a gift card. So, I mean, there's definitely a lot of questions here. It's really tough to say if it's real or not. That's definitely suspicious. We've seen stuff like that before, but I think if you're looking at things for reference, I think you're completely right. Maybe they just like copied it too much. They like different shots and they copied it almost too much. But as far as like, when I saw the gameplay, my initial reaction was, okay, there's no HUD. Why is there no HUD? This is really weird. And then as soon as they're starting to shoot, the HUD comes up. When you walk by cars, HUD icons appear to like open the doors and things like that. So I don't really know what to think at this point. I don't know if it's real, if it's not real. I thought the gameplay definitely looked, they were playing something, that's for sure. So whether or not they developed that portion just for that 10 minutes of gameplay, I don't know. But okay, so this is the stuff that he's playing, huh?
Yeah, this is because this is for them, you know, to try to once and for all prove that it's a real game. So you can see it moving around. Towards the end, when he moves around and does the slip, well, then even this, like even the logo is like an exact replica of The Last of Us. Like it has The Last of Us with the half face of the girl. And
yeah,
like,
right.
It's just so weird, man. I don't think it's a real game. I think they're using it to promote other things. The other thing that's weird, you'd think if they were going like full out scam mode, they would take pre-orders and they would
maybe they're not doing that for a reason, because they know it's not going to actually ever release.
So the thing that they've done is they've promoted some of their third-party software. Continent is one of them. they've put different product placements. They did a spot with IBM ThinkPads in their one weird video. And so like they're doing other things, they're getting promotions and stuff like that. I am super curious. I thought this when they did the 10-minute trailer and people were like, oh, that actually looked kind of cool. I could see some HUD elements like when the ADS was kind of dynamic HUD pop in and out. I thought that was cool. They showed a little bit of the stuff with looting and things like that. I was like, that's pretty cool. And then they showed this and I'm like, well, they almost like ruined what the credibility that they earned with this weird ass clip. And then when people started breaking down the trailer, I went right back into the camp of what the fuck is going on. Like I started out thinking, oh, maybe. And then people found those comparisons of those exact frame by frame matches. And I'm just back into this. It's just weird. And I kind of don't think it's a game, but. And then I haven't watched them, but super large creators like Asmongold and Moist Critical did some talks or did some react videos to it. And I haven't watched them yet, so I don't know. Moist Critical's video is like the biggest scam in gaming or something, so I can kind of tell from that title kind of where he's at on the situation.
Yeah.
But
I mean, is it a scam if they're not taking money? I don't know.
That's the thing. Like, what are they gaining out of it? They're gaining a little bit of stuff with, promoting their collaboration software and stuff within their videos. And then they're promoting like IBM ThinkPad. So they did some stuff with them. I don't know if they get anything out of the IGN deal or the NVIDIA deal. I'm sure that's been vetted a little bit. What's going to be really interesting is to see where IGN goes if this is a scam, if this turns out to not be a game and they've been, the one putting out their trailers and putting out the articles and stuff about them. It's going to be interesting to see what they have to do. Same with NVIDIA a little bit. Like, if it's not something that's real. I did notice the graphics where we're at now are much less than where we started. Like, than the first several gameplay trailers.
But that gameplay, that little clip where the guy's playing looks better than what they showcase in the 10 minutes, at least. Maybe it's just the lighting, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, you're right.
Yeah. So it's weird. We'll keep checking it out. It keeps getting delayed. Guys, it would not surprise me. You heard it here first. It could get delayed again. So
what we really need is like someone like an IGN to be like, yes, we had hands-on with this game. Right now, no one's had hands-on. No one's saying they've played this game minus the folks in the studio. So we have no credible source to say that they've had hands-on and these are their initial impressions given the state. For a game that was supposed to release in 2 months, or no, next month, right? For March, right? So it must be pretty close to finished. So the fact that no one's had hands-on, I don't know. It's weird that no one's had hands-on.
That would be the ultimate if they gave a build of it to a large creator like Big Fry or something and let him play it, and then they could say if a third party, because we haven't heard it's a real game from anyone outside of their company. And that's where the suspicions will, and rightfully so, it's where the suspicions will continue till someone outside the company, that's a really good point, gets their hands on it and can confirm that it's a game. So, and not just like they're saying in chat, 100% like a tech demo or like pre-rendered footage of Unreal 5.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility, that's for sure.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of that? For that topic,
I think we covered it all. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait and see if it does release in November.
Yeah, I know how I'm betting that's gonna go down. Would you like to do some quick shots?
I indeed would.
Well, in that case, I'm gonna hit you with a little. This is a really quick shot. But I wanted to talk about it. I kind of actually missed it in the first one. I wanted to talk about the significance of Halo going to Unreal 5. And I was going to talk about this in the industry changes, but I kind of glossed over it. What's up, Abel? Good to see you, man. And Max, thanks for being here, mod, man. I appreciate that. They're talking about Halo retooling to Unreal 5. And Jeff Grubb was talking about that this morning, along with his other kind of industry changing things, why it made sense to me. And we talked about this with Jim Heil a little bit. And then I argued with Twitter. I argued with some people on Twitter a little bit. I wish some more AAA studios would do this, and I hope it works out for Halo. The reason being is we talked about how they wouldn't have to do so many engine things, and the stuff that Jeff Grubb said added more to that conversation. He said, I think Jim might have said this. He said it would be really, Strike. And so if you guys don't know, I should, that's bad journalism. I'm terrible at this. Halo, starting with Project Tatanka, which is presumably, allegedly their battle royale, is going to be on Unreal 5. They're switching everything over to that.
Now,
Everything
what's the current engine for Infinite though?
It's a custom one, Slipspace. It's the Slipspace engine.
Okay.
Yeah, and they spent a whole bunch of time making that, and that's potentially part of the reasons that Halo 5 was so delayed and why there's such a lack of content. So starting with Project Tatanka, they're going to start everything on Unreal 5. And what he was saying, how do I want to put this? Yeah, so he said that two things. It opens up how many people you can hire, right?
Right.
Because who knows that custom engine that they made? The engineers that made it, right? They don't teach.
Yeah.
They don't teach Slipspace in college. They don't teach Frostbite in college. They don't teach the Call of Duty engine in college. They teach Unreal.
What is that engine code based off of, right? You need to train new employees. First, you need employees to come in that, yes, I have experience on this, and this. Okay, that's almost similar, or that's kind of where we build our base code from. We'll train you on this. But you're right. Unreal Engine 5 is much more accessible, and you can get people, you or me, anybody in chat could be like an expert in their own time at Unreal Engine 5. So much easier to find developers.
Yeah, because that's what they're taught in school, right? You're taught like Unreal, you're taught Unity, you're taught like you're taught that kind of stuff, rather than these proprietary things. So instead of having to get people on board with that to hire new people and learn an entirely new thing, they can hit the ground running. Also, during the development of your game, you don't have to focus on engine stuff as much. The other companies, Epic Games, that's their job. That's not your job to keep the engine running and more working. So I'm really hoping it works out for Halo, and it's kind of an example of being able to turn a game around and they can focus on that. And the metaphors that Jeff Grubb made this morning hit so hard with me. He said, when you write a new song, you don't build your own guitar first. Like, you get a nice guitar and play with it.
That's a really good analogy.
And then he said, when you make a new film, when you make a new movie, you don't build a camera from scratch. You get a nice camera and you get going. So like that kind of that really resonated with me this morning, and I wrote it down in my Boomer book so I didn't forget it. And I wanted to talk about that. I meant to talk about it earlier, but I snuck it in here. Whatever. We're all over the place today.
That's really good. So that's awesome news, actually. And then my next question to follow up with that is, when is Project Tatanka, if that's what I think you said it was called, when is that projected to be released?
I have no idea.
Okay. It's probably like hasn't even, or is just starting or hasn't started yet. So I'm curious. This is going to be, depending on when this releases, will be a telling point, I think, when we talked about the industry shifts earlier, industry changes, releasing finished games. This could be a good thing going forward for potentially Battlefield getting off of the Frostbite engine. I think I was looking at some Unreal Engine 5 tech demos showcases last year that just looked, mind blowing. It was the best graphics I've ever seen in my life. So the engine is capable of a lot. And if it's easier, source more developers, have more experienced developers already coming in who are familiar with the Unreal Engine base, it's going to be a lot easier to develop games and turn games around, develop better content, mechanics. There's a lot of benefits that come out of this. I think potentially shifting away from these proprietary engines is a good idea, at least judging on what we've seen the past, I'd say 10 years, honestly. I think especially with Halo Infinite and Battlefield 2042 as prime examples, those games suffered immensely with delays in content because of their engines. So that's I would very much like some good UE5 UE5 FPS games in the future.
Yeah, and a lot of people say, maybe it won't fulfill the needs of the game. I would think it would, like even with Destruction with Battlefield 5. or excuse me,
Oh,
with Battlefield 2042.
yeah.
We're gonna talk right now pretty much about the finals.
Hmm.
Amazing destruction, and that game's on UE5. So we're gonna
Yep.
see Embark Studios. Embark Studios with the former Battlefield developers are going to show you what Battlefield devs could do with UE5. I
Hmm.
feel like with their games coming out, and again to caveat this whole conversation, we're just a couple video game stooges on the internet. We're not developers and stuff, but it seems like from our point of view to kind of wrap up this conversation is if you could get a third-party software with these AAA games, you would have a massively larger hiring pool. You could spend
Hmm.
less time working on engine stuff, keeping it running in maintenance. That's kind of like you're paying for that service. You're paying for that engine. That's
Right.
Epic's. So in our example of Unreal 5, that's Epic's job to keep the engine running. You don't have to
Hmm.
work on that, and you can just focus on content. Have a lot more people, a lot more engineers that have been working with
Yeah.
Unreal their whole time. So, um,
Yeah, and I mean, you have some background in not necessarily like game development stuff, but and I have a background in development for web development and other things like that, and I work in the IT industry, so I see this all the time. We need a new developer for whatever the technology is that we use. And if it's a technology that isn't widely used or it's sourced from, depending on who it's sourced from, it's more difficult to find developers for that technology. So it's really the same thing in terms of hiring. When you need a good developer for something that isn't widely used, it's very difficult to find a good developer who is a subject matter expert, which is what you would get with Unreal Engine 5. Everybody can come in, would have majority of people out there would have a really good base in this engine already. It would be much easier to bring on experienced developers, and you'd have a much more polished product. So this would be a great step forward for a lot of these games that we've seen struggle in the AAA space.
agreed. So we did mention the finals just a little bit there. In the next,
I was waiting for it. There it is.
yeah, quick shot, and we could even have more sound effects because they put out something that's really cool. So they're kind of starting a little bit of their promotion for their games, which is exciting. Which presumably is supposed to be released this year, towards the end of holiday, I'm guessing. But they actually talked about how they're collecting this. Did you see this?
I did not know.
Oh, cool. So on their Twitter, Embark put this out on behind the scenes how they got the audio for the gunshots and stuff. So they were like, I'm not 100% sure where they were at, but they were at these like abandoned factories and stuff with a bunch of concrete silos and buildings and things. And they talked about how they recorded all this stuff, where the microphones were, how they did it, some of the safety concern, and just behind the scenes stuff on recording these shots for the game. And it sounded really meaty. And then we were like, dude, I wish Battlefield would do this stuff. Like, we wanted to see this with Battlefield. And then to come full circle, it's because the lead audio guy from DICE went to Embark. So now they're doing this behind the scenes stuff with audio. So I was like, oh, geez, of course.
Classic.
Of course. But yeah, it just is really neat, some behind the scenes stuff. I love to see this with, I mean, Embark is not really indie. They do have Nexon as a publisher, as a parent company or whatever.
They're like two and a half A almost.
Yeah,
2.5. They're basically AAA, but we can't quite call them that yet.
They're like two uppercase A's and then a lowercase A. So like it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah. Striking, this is for the finals. For the finals that Embark Studios is working on. And it's just a behind the scenes stuff. I hope they get more in depth with some of the other stuff, the character modeling and things like that. But although this is a lot, this game, the behind the scenes video is a lot grittier and darker than the actual game is. So if you're like a Milsim fan, this probably won't be the game for you because it's incredibly bright, colorful, and a little bit cartoony. But you can't take away the fact that it's pretty technically astounding of what they've been able to do. As someone who did play the alpha, the destruction in it is part of the game. Like it is a pillar of the design of the game. The destruction is crazy, and the audio was really, really good in the game. So it's cool to see. And they call this episode 1 behind the scenes. So that kind of leads one to believe that there should be some more behind the scenes stuff with the finals. And I do believe this game is slated to release this year. So I would assume holiday window is when the finals will be coming out.
And it's funny that this is all, a lot of these guys are ex Dice, because this is what Battlefield used to do, is stuff like this. We used to see the stuff like this with Halo back in the day also. So all the it's funny that, all the guys from those studios are going over to here and producing what, doing what gaming should be doing for marketing, and all this developing and everything like that. I think it's also worth noting that a lot of the X Dice developers that are here, I don't know if it's fact by now, but I think we can assume, left because they wanted to make their own game, not necessarily Battlefield. But when you're in a development position, you're kind of directed what games you're making, what you're doing. Here, it seems like a group of these guys all got together and put a couple ideas on the board, and that's what they're developing. So, passion projects is
Yep,
good. Should be
I
good
would
stuff.
guess, like, I don't want to say this is all alleged and coming from me exclusively and does not reflect Embark Studios, but I feel like it would be pretty safe to say they didn't want to be under EA anymore.
Yeah,
Just gonna go out on a limb. I don't think it's a very
allegedly.
dangerous limb, but that's a limb I'm
Yeah,
going out on, I think.
yeah.
Probably
Safe
was.
assumption.
Yep. Cool. So the next thing I want to talk about, pick from the list, I guess we'll continue with quick shots right along the same lines as Battlefield. I just wanted to touch on it really quick because they did have 3.2, which really changed stuff. I played a couple games with it. It did improve the game immensely, in my opinion. Still lacking in a lot of areas that we've talked about, but it makes the game much more readable. Kind of what you're coming up against in enemies and stuff when you see certain ones as you start to learn what classes the specialists are in. And it does feel a lot more Battlefield like. But yeah, still missing a lot of stuff, but it's definitely feeling better. So I mean, if you paid for it, you might as well try it again. It's kind of how I looked at it. It's not going to cost you anything to try it again.
Right.
And it's still rough. My overall thoughts on it, I super appreciate them adding to the game and working on it, trying to get it back where it was. I would just love to see if the game would have released more like this and we could actually be working on content instead of trying to fix the game. We would have actually seen a lot more content rather than just game fixes.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I don't really have a ton to say other than that.
Yeah, I mean, I heard the same things. I know some people in the communities played it. I know this Justin played it, gave me some impressions that he had. He thought it was a lot better. Also, it's kind of the general consensus is that it plays a lot better, which just goes, back to the I think the age old question is, why didn't they have classes at start? It's just really weird that they went with the specialist option. Now they're trying to, like we talked about last week, is shoehorn the specialist features into the classes, which from all accounts, it plays way better, especially what you're saying. So that's good. But so that just goes to more evidence that that class system needs to be there in the next game. And also, as far as upcoming content, I know Tempora released something on his Twitter, I think the other day, yesterday or 2 days ago, with one of the upcoming weapons that he was able to data mine that he shared with me a couple weeks back, the RPL-20, that Russian. It's basically the Russian saw. It's still in prototype phase, just a belt-fed 5.45 by 39 millimeter Russian machine gun, RPL-20. So that he data mined, so that potentially could be coming to the game. He did share some other weapons with me that I'm not going to say here, but he was trying to get my opinion on what they would be, and him and I talked about it. So if we're right with what he did data mine, I think the weapons that are going to be coming, if they do come, all of them, like, that's something I'll reinstall the game simply to get hands on with some of these weapons, because more weapons is great. I think the game is obviously lacking weapons, and if they're adding what he was able to data mine, and we think they are, I think it's going to be really good additions. Which just disappointing that they didn't add a lot of this stuff before, but I guess better late than never. If it's something that would make me reinstall it, I guess that's a good thing. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yep, but it'd be way nicer to see if they could have been working on content this whole time instead of fixing stuff.
Yeah,
but
what do we have?
I
Three
think
machine guns, right? It's like, come on.
yeah. I think it speaks. It gives us a little bit of hope for the future that they're understanding the importance of these features.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
hopefully the next game will have it.
Yep. Knock on wood, I guess, right?
Yep. Pretty much. Yeah, they've surprised us with their poor decisions before. The next thing I wanted to talk about was Apex Legends is getting a TDM mode. So that's going to be really crazy. They seem to be getting rid of Titanfall, and everything is going under the Apex Legends bundle or umbrella. I meant to
Mm.
say. So I don't have much other to say. That I don't have much more information than that. But I thought that was of note on a first-person shooter program to talk about
That-
Apex Legends getting a TDM mode.
yeah, and I also just want to mention there with Apex, I did see it today. I forgot to mention to you. It seems like they are going to be rotating a 3-map rotation, 1 map per
Yeah,
week. I think is what it was.
yeah, I
So
saw that
I
too.
think a lot of people were comparing that, like, what, how great would that be for Warzone if you had, OG Verdansk, the blackout map, and then um, Al Mazrah on like a weekly rotation would be pretty sweet, or something like that. So if Apex is doing it, I mean, Apex has just been killing it for since it came out. So
It
again, just looking at what these games are doing and seeing who follows suit.
I'm gonna be an asshole. I don't
Oh
think it
god,
would be good because I think the game would be like 4 terabytes if you had all
yeah.
if you had all the maps installed.
Well, the way they've been doing it with the Modern Warfare games, yeah, it'd be horrible. But I'm curious what that size is going to look like for Apex. That's just the age of can Infinity Ward, Activision, whoever is developing that specific game at the time, can they get that download size, the file size lower? So that's
Yeah.
always
If
been
you
a
if you
problem.
didn't consider that in a perfect world, I would agree. It would make the
Right, right.
replayability of that game so much better. I'm just being a jerk.
No, it's a good point though. But yeah, so that's another thing Apex Legends is doing. So maybe we'll see that roll into other games as well.
Agreed. Guys, ready for another quick shot? This one's kind of almost breaking news. There's a lot of stuff going on with Steam Next right now. There's some demos and things going on. And Boundary went live. So I don't know. Some of you guys have been following this. We talked about
Ooh,
it
yeah.
maybe briefly. I actually just played a match before we went live.
Really?
Yeah. It's
Good or
crazy.
bad? I'm not, good or bad? I'm not. Can't
I
tell
don't
with your
know.
voice.
I don't know, man. It was so different. It was so different. I need to give it a little bit more of a chance to see how it plays. It was weird. One of the things they have to fix is voice chat is incredibly loud and you can't mute people in your
Oh
lobby.
god. Oh
So
god.
that's gonna have to get fixed ASAP. But it does have VoIP, which Battlefield didn't have at launch.
Yeah,
So that's
a
pretty
big,
cool.
big plus.
But it's weird, man. Like you get, I don't know if my boomer brain can handle it because you get like flipped around and there's like no up, so like you don't have your bearings. So like I just noticed like if you're like pie in a corner or something, like trying to see who's around, and then it's like, oh, they're clear. Like if you think about like a lot of shooters, you're all kind of on the same plane. Like there's some verticality,
Right.
there's some verticality and stuff here and there, but yeah, dude, it's mind bending, I would say, to play it like right now. So but yeah, you have like a little you have a grappling hook that recharges that you can stick on stuff and pull you, and then you have a little joystick with like little thrusters on your suit so you can kind of flip and move around. And then I had some kind of AK style weapon. I literally just played like one game. It weirded me out, and then we had to go live.
It looks so cool though. I'm not
It's
gonna
weird,
lie. Like
man.
I remember seeing gameplay like a couple of years back, or however long ago it was. But yeah, it looks awesome. So I kind of want to try it
But yeah, guys can straight up try it right now. So it's on Steam.
now.
There's a playable demo on Steam.
Epic. Oh, there's the AK that you were using right there. That's sick.
Yep.
Kalashnikov even works in space. Gotta love
The graphics don't look as good as they do in this trailer. I will also warn you of that too.
it. Bummer.
But yeah, definitely try it out. I was getting like locked on, and there's some weird stuff. I mean, it's some futuristic weapons that I don't totally understand, and having a game that I don't completely have a grasp on within the first 5 minutes is probably a good thing.
Yeah,
It's probably
right,
got
I
a
was gonna say.
little bit more depth to it than me being an expert right off the bat and being bored with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, check it out,
Mhm.
guys. If you're able to, if you're on PC, if you got Steam, give it a go and see what you guys think. I'd love to hear people's thoughts on it. And I either way, like if I like it or don't like the gameplay, it doesn't really matter. I don't really give a shit. I applaud people for doing something different, and that's something that's definitely different. It feels
Mhm.
it feels different. If nothing else, if you like it or don't like it, you should at least experience it. How weird it feels to have people, like you could have enemies literally anywhere. Like I don't know if
That's awesome.
that could be
Cool.
annoying, but maybe if you get the flow in the map figured out, the giant floating. There's not going to be a lot of variety to maps either. I feel like you can have space or you can play in space or like, so I
Maybe
don't
like
know how that's gonna
you
work
probably
out,
do
but-
like different locations, like the outer rim of like Saturn or something like that.
Yeah,
Like
you're just
over
gonna
by
have like,
Mars, a different planet. Yeah,
yeah, like
still
different
space.
craft, different
Yeah,
craft you're fighting in, and they could do stuff with you know, have it like if you enter like a space station or a building or a ship or something where gravity kicks in, like maybe there's artificial
right.
gravity and that's a little more traditional, and then you go
That'd be
outside and
cool.
it's that'd be
Yeah.
there's stuff they could do with it for sure. An unlimited amount of planets they could, you know, play near too. So
Yeah, exactly. And bullpup weapons confirmed in space, so good stuff.
as a left-handed shooter, I'm very against them. All right. Yeah, I think the last quick shot I wanted to talk about is friend of the channel, Dr. Disrespect. Kidding. They
He
oh
loved
no, I have two more. Don't even worry about it.
Oh, okay.
Don't even worry about it. Get excited. We got more stuff to talk about. They're really changing how dead drop is going to work. So we've been following along with that for sure on this channel about how that's going to happen. Dr. Disrespect talked about on his channel, starting with their next what do they call them? Snapshots.
Snapshot, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to start coming less frequently, and the game is going to start getting fleshed out. So basically, he explains in only a way that Dr. Disrespect can in this video that they kind of have the foundation, and now they're moving into expansion mode. So in the
Nice.
next snapshot, you're going to start to see how the maps are going to look. You get to play the first sector of the tower, and you're going to start to see more and more weapons, and they feel like they like have a good base right now, and they're going to start fleshing it out. And with that, he said snapshots are going to be larger with more sweeping changes and more content, but they're going to go ahead and back it off to like 3 months. So it's not going to be every 6 weeks. So they're going to be every 3 months instead.
All right, cool. Yeah, I like it. I'm curious. I'm really God, I gotta stop saying I'm curious, but I'm a curious lad.
Yeah, you are.
I would like to I really want to see what this looks like, 3 months, 5 months. And that's what we said originally when we talked about it, is like, what's this game gonna be like in a year or two? Especially with Dr. Disrespect having the experience with the map development that he's done in the past for Call of Duty titles. And obviously just playing games full time. So I'm curious. God, I can't help but say it, but yeah, he's going
guys drink every time Buff says curious.
You'd be blackout drunk. I want to see how much he plays this game on his streams, down the road, and how critical he is of this game compared to other games. Not that he's like super critical about games, but I think he has a very good approach to a lot of the feedback that he gives, and the fact that he'll be able to, direct that feedback is good.
Yeah, it'll be funny to watch him when he gets killed by something stupid and he's all mad and wants to talk shit on the game, but then it's his game. Yeah. Someone who's notorious for uninstalling games on the spot when it's his own game is gonna be pretty funny. Striking, I love the map Solar, just so you know. I love it too. And then the other thing that he said that was very, very much of note, that more people are going to be allowed in. So it's not going to be just people who have purchased the NFT thing. It's going to be, sounds like moving towards open betas and open playtest. So
Nice.
it sounds like everybody will start to get their hands on it as they move forward into the next phase of Dead Drop.
Beautiful.
Did I say I had?
Una mas.
Yeah. I had one more round left in the chamber there. What was it? Oh, yeah. So Mark Rubin has been like spitting fire on Twitter.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
So I wanted to get everybody's thoughts on this. And when I say everybody's thoughts, I mean everybody, including you guys in chat. The first thing he talked about was unpopular take, ? Not every FPS player wants to play BR. Crash Games liked and retweeted that. So I was on board with that. Not every FPS player wants BR all the time. I'm really starting to feel that sentiment when I don't see any new content coming for multiplayer in Call of Duty. And I think what he's doing here is incredible marketing. He's playing and talking to points that people are really feeling the effects of right now. So in another tweet he put out, that's really got people excited about the game we're talking about is X Defiant. Sorry about that. Ubisoft's X Defiant. Mark Rubin, who has worked on previous Call of Duty titles, is in charge of X Defiant. So he says, features I would have if I were making a multiplayer FPS: no skill-based matchmaking, casual play, ranked mode, lobbies that stay together, red dots on minimap, and map voting, just to name a few. And then he says, hint,
Mhm.
I am making that game. So pretty cool.
Yeah. I liked that also, so that's good to hear.
Yeah, I really like what he was doing with just, I mean, he's just hitting all the high points. He's putting himself out there,
Yeah.
um, and really talking about how it is.
It's
And then
yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, someone talked about and understanding the someone tweeted, Greg, shout out Greg, tweeted to him, and understanding the difference between wanting to play console only and via input matchmaking. And Mark replied, we'll have input based matchmaking, but you can still party up across inputs. But on console, if you only want to match with consoles, then you'll be able to do that. This is an Xbox Sony requirement. So it sounds like it's going to have input based matchmaking, input preferred matchmaking, which I think is awesome. And then it sounds like crossplay is there if you want to team up. It sounds like it'll probably put you in a team with crossplay. And then if you are a console and want to play only consoles, that will be an option. So it sounds really good. To be fair, I think everything sounds really good and exactly up my alley for this game. No skill-based mode, casual play. You can go mess around. You can use off-meta weapons. You can use silly stuff. Sometimes I like to get in with my friends that enjoy competing and play ranked. I love to sweat a little bit. Map voting's fun. I hope there's a lot of maps in the game. Like everything sounds perfect to me, except I'm not that excited about the setting.
I honestly hated the setting at first, and I'm curious. Go drink, everybody. Shots. No, I'm much more receptive of it now than I was originally. So I think when we talked about it with Abel the other week, and getting about there he is. You better not follow that trash because you'll be blackout in 2 seconds. But it looks way better than originally. When I remember the original trailer, I thought was just terrible looking. So I think they did a good job turning that around. Honestly, from what I'm seeing lately, I'm definitely gonna give it a shot just for fun, for sure. So everything there sounds great, and the battle royale tweet that he had was also really, really good. And that also, I not to go back to a COD discussion, but I think he brings up a good point there, and it's also odd because I think we originally all felt like Warzone 2 would be released in February or March, right? Or on the same timeline Warzone 1 was. So it's weird that they kind of pushed it out. And I think that's probably a good, that's probably what is resulting in the lack of content. They had to push so much out so quick that content suffered. But I agree. Yeah, not everybody does want Battle Royale. We want extraction shooters.
Yep, I think extraction shooters are going to continue to take over. I hope a good, well balanced, competitive shooter also doesn't get lost. I think there's always going to be a spot for that too. So really, all we need is a really nice, big, giant battlefield to chill on in the off time. That's what.
Man, that would be great. I look forward to that in 2027.
Yeah, me too. I hope. I hope so.
A specialist shooter, and with the quirky lines were my favorite, so I hope they bring that back. That's the best.
Yeah. But it really seems like he's saying all the right things, and I hope they can follow through. Again, it's not my ideal setting, but if it has all that stuff, it plays well in quite a few maps and runs well. I can get around it to have fun with my friends. I feel like.
Yeah, it also kind of goes back to the topic of industry changes, right? I mean, is this kind of a return to the old?
Yeah, like a reset, kind of like back
seems
to
like it.
how they used to play. It does, and that's why it's going to be cool to see how it plays out, like how it performs on the market. If it's nostalgia making us think this is good, or if it's actually going to play well, you know what I mean? Like it could be like pandering to the nostalgia that we get in and play, and we're like, whoa, this is
horrible. Yeah.
So that's what's going to be cool to see how it plays out, how it performs.
Dinosaurus Rex.
Don't say it.
Crack it up. Angel does it again. Just classic.
Say it, man.
God, I love it.
I feel something when I hear that. I don't think it's love.
Who approved it? Who approved those lines? I want to know.
Talk to me. I want to talk to you.
Yeah, good God.
So yeah, if you guys have any questions, I think we have just a little bit of time for that. If you're down, Buff.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you guys have any questions? Not sure if there'll be any. If not, while you guys are thinking about those, while you guys are typing them in, just appreciate you so much for being here. If you guys do want to support the program, keep your money. Be a friend, tell a friend is what we say around here. Just share with people, let people know, so we can have some more folks come hang out with us on Mondays and talk about shooting video games, because we'd love to have some more folks in here chatting it up. Then we can get more guests, then we can make more better programs, and then we can maybe get a production team that's not terrible one day. Be sweet.
And PJ in chat saying, haven't played DMZ till 2 days ago. Boy, oh boy, haven't had fun like that. Yeah, in a long time. Haven't slept in 2 days either. There you go, man. DMZ is a really good change. I'm all the people not happy with Warzone needed to give that a try. Although I feel really bad when I kill like obvious noob players, because at this point we're just hunting players and it's not even fair. But yeah, people definitely got to give it a try.
I need to stream snipe you. I like that.
You can try, but I'm just saying I'm pretty good.
All right. Michael says, have you seen the new patch info on Siege Crash Extended Barrel about to break the game? No, I was thinking about playing Siege tonight, actually. And I haven't seen the latest patches, but I do have Siege on the radar, because we are having the big, what's it called? Six Invitational, like the big world championship of Siege is getting ready to start in the next week or so, and then they're going to talk about year 8 and what they're going to do.
Oh, okay.
They're going to announce Rainbow Six Siege 2. No, it'd be wild if they did that.
Just keep going. Yeah, that'd be amazing.
It'd be pretty wild.
I'll have
to check out the latest patches and stuff. They've been changing a lot of balancing stuff with the patches, and that's a game that's really hard. And if you don't play it for a while and come back to it, you get absolutely destroyed. So you shouldn't play that game casually. And that's exactly what I do. So
there you go.
I play it like a few times a month and get destroyed. And then every time I'm playing it, I'm like, man, I wish I had time or my youth so I could be good at this game. It'd be so cool to be good at this game. And then I don't play it again. And then I come back and get destroyed. And then it's just like a whole vicious cycle. But
I had so much fun playing it, but leading up to before Modern Warfare 2019 came out, I was looking for like a new game, so I picked that up, and they were having like a sale, so I was in like the protected early lobbies and stuff, and I was just having so much fun. I loved that game, and I went back like a year or two later, and I was like, how do I put up barricades? Like, what am I doing? What am I doing?
There's a lot to it, man.
Just got wrecked. I didn't know what I was doing.
And it's like I'm never happy. So like I was playing Siege, I'm like, this is too complicated. So then I played Search and Destroy, like, whoa, this is really nice. This is kind of a breath of fresh air. It's like Siege, but like a lot easier and a lot less layers to it. And then now I'm like, man, I'm kind of bored with S&D. I want something that's more in-depth and complicated. I'm gonna go back and play Siege. I'm never happy. PJ asked, favorite operator in Siege for you, Crash? It's gotta be Maestro, man. I love Maestro. I even made a front license plate on my truck that's of Maestro, so I have him on my truck because he's got the big Spartan helmet, smoking the cigar.
That's sick.
Yeah, I really like his gadget. It's like if you put those evil eyes in really good spots, you can really mess with people and deny plants. He's got nerfed quite a bit, and then that Alda LMG with like the 84 rounds or whatever. Yeah, I got plenty of ammo. So I really like Maestro a lot on defense. Attack, I don't know. It depends. I'm pretty fluid with who I play, like depending on what the team needs, but I'm not sure. It's a tough one. Probably I like to be toxic with Jackal. Sniff those toes. I like smelling feet. Tracking people. It's in the game, Buff. I don't really like doing that. He tracks people. Okay.
Sure. I'm a fuse guy myself. Those drill charges, man. Those drill charges.
So you probably haven't played. I didn't say V-Pix. You said V-Pix. Okay, Crash. So you probably haven't played since the fuse charges can go through reinforced walls.
No, I did not play after they did that. That's awesome. That was always a thing. Like they had to go through the soft walls.
Yeah. So even if it's reinforced, at first it cuts a little thermite-like hole, and then it puts the hockey pucks of death through the hole.
Dude, those are so fun to use. that was like my first operator because I just got like the year one edition or whatever, and I just would be like upside down outside of the building and just like drill charge, and then I'd like flip around and come through the window and just like AK-12 everyone to death. It was a blast. Good
Yeah, I
time.
might play that tonight. That it's such a great game. What Striken says about it being toxic is true, but they've really tried to help. They've added player rep, so you have a reputation now. If you get
Mm.
reported a bunch for being toxic, you'll lose rep, and then you start to get match made with other buttholes. So it's like, if you team kill and get reported for that all the time, and they added a lot of stuff to help with griefing. The friendly fire thing is a deal. They also took away, which is a big source of griefing. Friendly fire is turned off during the prep phase.
Oh, nice.
So a lot of times what would happen, if you're playing smoke and you're shotgunning out a rotate hole and somebody runs in front of you and you accidentally kill them, and then their buddy kills you and everybody's mad and it's a whole thing. They took that out. And then now you can really only get team killed once, and it keeps track of who's in your party.
Perfect.
So if you get team killed and somebody else tries to team kill you, they know it's retaliation and it drops your rep. So they're really trying to help with that stuff. And it also monitors your chat. So if you say a bunch of slurs and stuff in chat, it will just knock down your rep, and then it puts you with toxic people.
There you go.
And the more times you get reported, the lower your rep goes. And they're really trying to help with all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, PJ. I don't know. I'm gonna have to research that. So in year like 5 and 6, I watched so much Pro League. I watched so much Pro Rainbow Six and got super into it. Knew all the teams and stuff. I have no clue who's the favorite right now going into the SI. So I'm gonna have to research the teams and see where some of my players went. Even if some of my favorite players are still playing and stuff. But I was watching during the G2 Dynasty. I remember that, and I remember some of their epic match on Coastline against Space Station, and just some of those crazy Siege moments. I think Siege is the perfect esports game with all the depth and the strats to it and the comms. Definitely. And like, it's such a great game for esports. And it scratches that competitive itch for me too, playing ranked and stuff. So I really like it. But yeah, I want to get into it, and then we should be hearing pretty soon about what they're going to be doing with next year. They have during SI, during their big invitational, their World Championships, they have their big developer video where they show what everything's coming in for the next year. So we'll have to keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for that. Metal Gear Solid. They need a Siege 2. We'll have to do an episode on. We'll have to have a segment on Siege whenever they announce everything, and then talk about how they would do a Siege 2. Have you ever played Metal Gear Solid? I haven't really. I've watched them, but I haven't played them.
I played a few here and there. I think the last one I played was Phantom Pain. It's like very open world. I liked it. It was, again, just like a very casual. I didn't know what the heck I was doing, but it was cool.
So, oh man, sorry, I'm still thinking Siege. I was wondering if there's any. We can do sports betting in Kansas now. I wonder if there's places you can bet on Siege matches. That'd be freaking fun.
That'd be pretty sick, man.
I wonder if there's esports betting anywhere.
Like DraftKings, but E-Kings, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be pretty wild. If there's any kind of sports book where you can bet on esports,
that'd be awesome.
I was gonna look and see who's a favorite to win SI Rainbow Six 2023. Oh, they do have some betting odds on esports bet. Oh geez, that sounds like a great website to give my credit card number to. It sounds like on Stats, FaZe Clan and Ninjas in Pajamas NIP are the favorites, followed by BDS. I bet Shiko is still rocking. That dude is the best aimer in video games ever. Like, just stupid, like aimbot, human aimbot. Liquid, One Rogue, Navi, Empire, Elevate, Space Station, Dongwon, Kia, Furia, Dark Zero. Oh man, Dark Zero's like way at the bottom. They were my team. Space Station's pretty low. It doesn't. FaZe Clan is actually Latin American. So they're a LATAM team. They kind of, in the SI, it's cool because they're actually, the regions generally face each other within the regions, and in this, it's everybody against everybody. So you get to see inter-regional gameplay.
Oh, that's cool.
And they're actually in the LATAM region. So a lot of times you get to see really good teams from each region, and you don't know how they're going to play each other because the regions kind of play different within their own metas. So whenever you have these majors where it's worldwide competition, it's pretty neat to watch, especially if you're into it and follow it, which I quit doing.
I did used to like to watch that. I do see PJ, no, not PJ. Who said it? Where did it go? Yeah, PJ. So PJ also said, kind of game related. What do you guys think of The Last of Us? The first 3 episodes for the HBO series. I've only watched the first 2. I haven't had time to sit down and watch 3 and 4 yet, but I'm really liking it so far. I was lucky enough, had the opportunity to obviously just play the game when it first came out back in 2013. So, I that was still hands down the best game I've ever played story wise. So the show, I'm not going to speak whether it's better or worse till I finish the entire series, but so far they've been pretty true to the game, which I really appreciate.
I think I'm a weirdo. So
Why?
I'm not excited for Hogwarts because I've never watched or read anything Harry Potter. I have no clue about it.
Oh,
And
really?
same with Last of Us. I've never played it. I have no clue on how it is, so I haven't watched any of them.
I don't think you can get
it.
it on. I don't know if there's probably like a PC.
I think they did part 1 on
you can
PC,
do.
right?
Yeah, I mean, if they did, I would definitely recommend it. That's a game you'll play through, and it'll blow your freaking mind, man. It is so good, so good. So definitely one of those ones where if you're only watching the show and you haven't played the game, I feel bad for you because the game was just so good. It's like when you watch a movie before reading the book, and everyone, you always hear that the book was better than the movie. It's just like if you're watching the show, you don't really. We'll have to see what it's like when it's over, but yeah, you really don't know what you've missed not playing the game. So have to see what happens.
Nice. Yep. And then the other one like that I haven't watched that everyone can't believe is I never watched like Game of Thrones. I don't know anything about that either.
Well, Crash, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to do the show with you anymore. So good luck with you and your weird not liking good things.
All right, I'll just go play Rainbow and sniff toes. It's fine. It's fine. I don't care. That's how it's gonna be. I'll do it.
Just kidding.
GameSpot's. You're not kidding. You're serious. I just want to ask you both if you watched GameSpot's loadout series of videos. I have not. I don't even know what that is. Do you?
What is it? GameSpot's loadout series? Oh yeah. That's what they do with the armory guy. Yeah, I think that's the one, right? Where he goes and reviews different weapons in different games. I love that series. If that's the one you're talking about,
I've seen some other ones like that.
He goes through like different games. So I mean, depending on what the game is, I usually watch it. I really like the stuff he does for like Arma, Tarkov, obviously, Battlefield. COD, I don't necessarily like watch because that's like literally what my whole content is. So I don't need to like rewatch somebody doing exactly what I do. But I do watch some of them here and there just to get his take on weapons that I've already covered and things like that. I like it. I think especially for Arma, there's like some good, cool weapons in Arma 3 that I really liked seeing him cover. So that's really cool. Man, I know nobody asked how much chicken and rice does one eat for forearms like that. Well, we should ask Crash because Crash is over there killing bears out in the wilderness with bare hands. So
no bears. I did almost step on one this year when I was deer hunting though.
Oh God,
he ran away.
You could have taken. Yeah, he was scared, man.
He ran away. I'm glad he was scared because I was scared too. I think we were equal scared level when we saw each other. Yeah, when's your contest coming up?
Either doing April or June, and then definitely November. So we'll see. We're getting there. Crazy, but you guys will know when I'm really close because my face will be all sunken in and I'll look like I'm almost dead. But that's
it's fine. We can fix that in post.
There you go. Production team's on it.
Yeah. Dinosaur's Rest. Can you read his question? He had a good question. He had a really good question. It might open a can of worms, but
do you guys think more tactical games like Ground Branch, Ready or Not, will start to catch more and more momentum, or start to? Sorry, guys, my contacts are like all blurry. Influence bigger budget games. If so, which big games do you think would fit? Yeah, I would say yes for sure. Dinosaurus Rex, like Ground Branch, Ready or Not. There's some other ones in there that I'm forgetting. There's a handful of these smaller games that all go hand in hand, that are tactical first-person shooters that are kind of in the same release window. I think that again, it goes back to like industry change. I think these indie titles are doing a lot of things that a lot of people want. The only downside is the majority of them are only available on PC, and you get a console crowd, which is the majority of gamers are on consoles that are missing out on these titles, which would console players are eager for those types like Ground Branch, Ready or Not, all those games. We want to play those. I mean, I'm lucky enough to have a PC and I play some of these games here and there. But yeah, the accessibility of consoles you can't beat. So I would really like to see these start coming out. Can they influence other games? They should. It's just whether or not the AAA market's going to pay attention, which they should be paying attention. I think like one example is Call of Duty with DMZ and the Tarkov similarities. Obviously, they paid attention to what Tarkov has been doing, wanted to do their own take on it. And I think they've done a really good job of that. So that's I think one example of influence. But as far as going back to like what else can it influence? I think going back to editing your character model, things like that would be really cool. There's a lot of things in there. I would really like to see it. You can take elements and put it in like anything, Call of Duty, Battlefield, whatever, or just release those games on consoles, and you'll see big sales numbers. So
I'm a huge pessimist when it comes to those games. So, I mean, do you want to hear my asshole take?
yeah, I do actually.
I feel like people think they want those games, but they don't. But the bottom line is, if you do want them, and there is an audience for them, you should, if you're interested in those, you should work your way up to trying to save up and build a PC. I think most of them are gonna stay on PC. The weird thing about those types of games I don't understand is people get excited as shit about them, but they don't play them. Like if you look at a lot of YouTube channels that cover tactical games, they get hundreds of thousands of views every video, and then you go look up the game on Steam charts, and there's 500 people playing it.
And I think that goes to the accessibility.
Maybe it's the console thing.
Yeah, I think majority of those viewers don't have PCs to play games, and especially if you're like new to PC gaming, like when somebody says build your own PC, that's a daunting.
Right.
I mean, I have a tech background and everything, and when I didn't build my PC. I had to like learn what I needed and stuff like that. And I found like a good pre-built one, but I still, given my background, it's different from like PC components for gaming. So I wouldn't trust myself to build my own PC. I'd have to tap someone on the shoulder who's better at like the gaming building of it to do.
I'll build you one. I built this beast right here. It's running this program.
There you go.
That's why it only crashes twice a month.
Yeah, but I do think, if you look at any Tarkov video or anything, you see like, when's this game coming to console? That's like always what I see, and I think Insurgency Sandstorm's a really good example of bringing a good PC title over to consoles and it being pretty successful. So
yeah, I'm not saying that isn't true. I'm definitely not arguing that point, but I just think AAA studios are going to be not even AAA studios, but studios that have enough of a budget and a team to bring a game to console, which just has more issues. Like it's harder. It doesn't necessarily have more issues. It's harder. Like they have to get a dev kit. Everything has to pass a certain way. It's got to play different. It's got to meet certain specs and standards to play. And whenever you do that, it's just harder. It takes more budget. It takes more people to get a game from PC to console. It's much easier to develop for them is all I'm saying. And it's probably always going to be that way. Cause I think those companies other than New World Interactive with Insurgency are going to be very hesitant to bring a hardcore game because I think that is a niche community.
And
I don't think it's ever going to be.
To try it.
It would be cool if someone would do it.
Yeah.
Tarkov console would be wild.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
It would melt everybody's console, but
I think it would sell very well, but how would it play is another.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that, dude. I totally get it. I had to save up for a really long time to get my first PC. It's expensive. I'm not going down the PC versus console thing at all. I see consoles are awesome. You plug them in, you turn them on, you play video games. Like I built my PC and I enjoy that stuff and I've upgraded it and that's really fun to me, but it's come with problems like driver problems, components not working. Like there's a lot more to it. It would be nice sometimes just to plug son of a bitch in and play video games. It works. So like I'm not saying they both have their plus sides, but I'm just saying as from a developer standpoint with these independent studios, a lot of them don't have the means to get a game to console. So if you are a tactical first person shooter purist, if you love that, it's going to be worth it for you to try to work and save up and to get a PC. And honestly, like the lower end PCs now, and like the middle range PCs, like a lot of people are running games just fine on. It's almost cheaper to get pre-builts at this point. The way parts and stuff are. My folks were just looking at getting a computer for their business, and I was helping them find one, and I was going to build them one. And honestly, for what they needed, I couldn't build one for as cheap as you can find it, like some stores like Costco and stuff like that. So.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got mine through Best Buy. It was, but I bought it strictly for streaming. It still plays most things decently.
So, yep. I'm hoping, and that's why we're rooting for games like Tarkov, right? To be successful and see those games, because I feel like AAA studios and larger studios aren't going to make that push until they see it work.
Right.
It's kind of like how it was with battle royales, right? Like they saw PUBG and then everybody had to do it. So if Tarkov continues to do really well and people can widely adapt these tactical mechanics and get into them, which I'm all for, I enjoy them very much. Like I enjoy playing Siege. You could argue the tacticalness of that. I enjoy Tarkov. I like playing a wide variety of shooters. That's why I really enjoy this podcast, because we're able to talk about all kinds of different ones. So I really enjoy that. And Ready or Not is super, super cool. But it's just not something that I can play forever.
Right. Yeah, I hear that.
So, and I think that's why there's a lot of trepidation there from larger studios to bring stuff like that to console. But if Tarkov continues to keep doing it, somebody's going to try, I feel like. Exactly. And that was originally your question, like to see the success of those games. And I think it is a possibility for one or two of them to break through. But right now, I don't know what it would be. And I'm a little.
I think Tarkov and DMZ is currently like the only or the best example, I guess. But well, yeah, I agree. I think we'll see it come through in other areas too.
Yep. But Ready or Not, a lot of those are interesting because they're really fun to play like a few times, but they just don't have that staying power for me. Like Ready or Not, like playing through a mission or two, and then I play through them a couple times, and then I'm like, okay, like I did it.
I think that's where like that's where the modding community comes in, because like, you know, like I've said a million times, like Sandstorm, ISMC, MPC, the amount of weapons they put in there is epic, and it's like 5 to 6 times what you get in the base games. And with Ready or Not, also you get, you know, there's mods out there to reskin your whole squad and reskin weapons as like Spetsnaz Alpha Gru, you know, Ukrainian SSO, whatever, Navy SEALs. And that's, I think, where you get the replay value. So that's what I love about it. I think that's another thing, like these other, like to your question, AAA studios or whoever can take like, okay, well, what's the modding community doing for this game? And what's the interest in that? And like, oh, that's a cool thing. Maybe we could do something like that. So there's a lot of things to pull from. But I think that's my favorite part about those games, is to see the modding community come up with these awesome, intricate, like really cool things that they put in the game. So that's just not, unfortunately, not something you're really going to get on console anytime soon, but definitely something that could be adapted.
Yep. Agreed. All right, guys. Is that a show?
I think so.
Cool, man. Well, that was fun. Sorry, we'll have to see if we can get Blue on next week to hang out and talk about video games.
RIP his internet, I guess.
Yeah. Shout out Spectrum, get it together.
They always do it.
Sounds like it. I hear that name tossed around in not a favorable fashion quite a bit, I feel like. But.
That's who I have. I mean, they've actually been like pretty good for me historically, but yeah, like sometimes there's some crazy outages at just like the worst times.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll see. Keep us posted, because again, I am going to have a child any day now, so we'll see if that affects any of the shows. We try to have a stream
from the hospital. Or
yeah, I don't know. You did it that one time from the hotel. It was pretty sweet.
I did. I
don't know how we pull that off, but so yeah, we'll have to see. But anyway, guys, we'll keep you updated. I still don't see us having to cancel an episode. We might have to move it a day or two. One way or the other, depending on how that goes down. So I really want to continue to try to at least get one episode a week. moving forward, I'm not ready to give up yet. Still enjoy making these, and enjoy hanging out with you all. So, guys, thank you so much. We'll keep our eye on the pulse of first-person shooter news throughout the week and see what we have to talk about next Monday. And I really hope to see you guys there.
Thanks for hanging out, everyone.
Bye.